Okay, guys, I'm gonna talk to you about basically vibrations, and solely, coming from the rear. The front, we're not gonna get on that subject, but let's just talk about you have vibrations either like on your floor pan or you feel them in your ass of the seat. Okay, so there's only so many things that can cause vibration, like I'm talking, and possibly tire balance, most likely not. But so pinion angle, that's a pretty big deal. And basically, if you're like me and you're running these super stock leaf springs with the adjustable pinion snubber, basically, since the A-body Mopar has the short front leaf spring segment, the asymmetrical leaf, with the heavy-duty super stock leaf spring like that, you basically can set the pinion angle at rest. You'll read online guys compensate like nose down for axle wrap. Well, you really don't have that on a Mopar A-body anyway. Even like I'll show you guys here. I have a 2-degree shim, and that's a factory, A-body 8 3/4 perch, whatever Chrysler, whatever degree they put it from the factory. Trying to get a light here. That is a 2-degree shim. And that's mainly because I have these adjustable front hangers from Mancini, just because I didn't like how high the super stocks made it sit, which that's another subject, but actually these are like the ticket to traction if you have super stock leaf springs. They actually move the instant center more to the center, or more to the rear of the car, but getting off subject. All right, so pinion angle, you basically, with super stock leaf springs, you can set it at rest. You don't need to add so many degrees of pinion down to compensate for axle wrap, because with super stocks and adjustable snubber set about a 1/2 inch from the floor, there's not going to be much wrap at all. But anyways, the angle finder here, this actually can screw you up. So the drive shaft, you want on the joints, you want equal and opposite. Okay, so you want, if the pinion's up in the rear, then you want the tail shaft or the yoke down, equal opposite. But when you do check this with any magnetic base, if you're checking if you check the front, I guess let's go up here. So if you're we're just gonna pretend the drive shaft's in. Gotta get you guys some lighting. We're just going to pretend the drive shaft's in, and we're gonna check it on the bottom of the U joint. And how we'll have this is we're looking at it from the passenger side, reading left to right. And most cases, it's anywhere from 2 to 3 degrees downhill. And if it's not, then you got other problems. But you want the drive line, meaning center of crank, to run downhill, at least a couple degrees. But so you're reading it left to right from passenger side. Well, what's going to screw you up if you have a digital magnetic angle finder is if you go on the same side. You stick it on this U joint and reading it on passenger side left to right, it's actually going to read wrong. You actually want to go, if you check it on the front joint, passenger side left to right, you want to go on the driver's side and you want to read it from the driver's side left to right, because if not, you're going to have two of the same. You'll have them both reading down. So I have 3 degrees down at the crank center line, or up front, and then when I come over here, it says that I have 2.5 degrees down, but that's not true, because when I come back on this side, I have 2.5 degrees up. And within 1 degree, you're really not going to have much vibration. What you would expect out of a solid motor mount, 60-year-old car. So just if you do use one of these, just make sure that when you're reading the angles, read them the same but opposite, if that makes sense. It's not real scientific with the pinion angle. Like I said, this is this is applying to super stock leaf springs. Only because, like I said, considering there's not a whole lot of axle wrap with super stock leaf springs. So anyways, all right, so I've been fighting a vibration, and I guess I'm just sharing with you guys. That's step number one. But see, my pinion angle, I've never changed this. This has been the setup for the last 3 years. And freshened up the motor. Dad put me together a new transmission, and then I put together this new third member because we went to the 35 spline spool and axles. And I'm just like, what is this vibration? And I did the obvious. I checked the pinion angles, checked the U-joints. I did check the tire balance, but like I said, that's 90% of the time not the case. But doesn't hurt to check. That all checked out, and then what no one ever talks about, or what no one ever mentions, is the tail shaft bushing in the transmission. And this is a TorqueFlite 904, so you don't have a whole lot of options for good bushings. They're all, made in China, and the 727s might be made in China too, but you actually can get a Teflon coated 727 tail shaft bushing, but for the 904 you can't. And there's been rumors on the internet that you can use a C4 Ford automatic tail shaft bushing, but that's not true, because for a Ford, they make a nice Teflon coated bushing. But that's not true, because the dimensions are just slightly off, but slightly off enough that you can't use them. So anyways, I found my vibration, and let me get out from underneath the car and we'll talk about that. Okay, so this specs out, this core plug actually for a small block, it specs out almost identical OD diameter for the C Ford automatic. And the C Ford automatic is very similar bushing to the Chrysler TorqueFlite. But here's the catch. The Chrysler TorqueFlite, roughly, has a 170 outside diameter. So, I'll show you guys. Give or take, this is a cheap dial indicator. All right, 169.5. Now the C4 Ford automatic has a 163 outside diameter, so close enough. 164.8. No bushing in this tail shaft, and yeah. And also the 700R4, the 4L60E, the 4L65E, the Power Glide, and the Turbo 350 all share that 1630 outside diameter. The catch is the inside is a 150, some are even 151, and that would fit on that 904 slip yoke very tight, but almost too tight. Because if y'all ever measured a 904 slip yoke, it comes out to about 155, 156. And I just don't see these guys saying on the internet how a C Ford or a Glide tail shaft bushing, since, they actually get a nice quality bushing, unlike us TorqueFlite Mopar guys get these cheap-ass, junk-ass bushings. I just don't see that working, because getting that yoke to slide in, being that the yoke is 5 to 6 thou tighter, maybe, and especially if you had an original wore out yoke, but a new, chrome moly yoke, no way, that's too tight. And then even if you could get it to slide on, there's no way, that's a press fit, and you can't cough up 6 to 7 thou and have it press fit. That's exactly what you need for press fit. But anyways, that transmission my dad put together for me, all new bushings, new pump bushings, overrunning clutch drum bushing, tail shaft bushing, just a basic rebuild, but all new bushings. Because most of the time, if you have a transmission leak, like out of the converter or out of the tail shaft, everyone thinks it's the seal, and it's actually the bushing. But oddly enough, it didn't leak any transmission fluid out the tail shaft, but it is slop, and I mean bad slop. So as you see, I have 1 still in the car, TorqueFlite tail shaft housings, and they've all had new bushings. This one actually I drove out, but I was able to save it using this core plug and drive it out without messing it up to put it in Uno number 3 tail shaft housing. And I'm here to tell you guys, I don't know if it's these cheap ass bushings, you know, because there's like, I only found one brand, ATP, on Rock Auto. And it's like, I think they might be Babbitt. I'm not sure, but it's either the bushing or the housing or the combination. Right now, I'm leaning towards housing, but out of all three of these, I finally got one to actually fit tight. There should be little to no movement, you know, when the yoke is engaged into the tail shaft. So, obviously, you need a good yoke. Like this yoke, granted, it's like 5 years old, but it's still in really good shape. I just polished it a little with, you know, emery cloth and some WD-40. But I'll show you this one. Now, this is a brand new bushing, and this is out of a A99 torque flight, 904 torque flight. And obviously, some guys are going to have play because their tail shaft is only engaged, you know, there we go. Their tail shaft's only engaged an inch, but let me show you guys this. Maybe you can actually hear it. I mean, like, are you kidding me right now? Brand new bushing installed. I don't know, okay? But the tail shaft housing that's in the car, it's worse than that. And like I said, that bushing don't have 500 miles on it. I didn't check it when I first put the transmission in. I wish I would have. But now this is another 904 tail shaft housing bushing. And I'll show you guys this. Nothing. Smooth as butter. So it looks like we have a winner. This one here, it had more play than this one. And you can always tell the 9.9s, they got more webbing. They're supposedly stronger cases than just the regular 904, but it's the same tail housing. So this one is an A99 as well. And hey, we finally got one. You know, I'll accept 2-3 thou, but this one is probably 8 to 10 thou. This one was 12 thou plus, and the one that's in it, I'm not shitting you guys, it's probably 20 thousandths of play. I mean, and my engagement, my seal rides about right there. So we got enough engagement in her. So just you know, if you guys, I'm not trying to make this video 4 hours long, but if you guys have vibration and you have the pinion angle anywhere close, you know, within 1.5 degrees of equal and opposite, your tires are balanced. I don't know. Your transmission mount, it's not ripped. I've had that. That will vibrate too. And the polyurethane transmission mount will vibrate more than the rubber one. But all that's good. Well, it is most likely your tail shaft bushing. And good luck trying to get one to fit tight. But you damn sure want you a good, like a nice, you know, chromoly, preferably, new slip yoke. You might want to buy you about 3 or 4 tail shaft bushings. And hopefully you got at least 2 tail shaft housings to, you know, basically race driver them in to see which one actually fits tight. Because if you're putting it on there and it's already got 10 thousandths of play, well, in a short order, it's going to have 15 to 20 thousandths. These actually, I mean, I've wore these out in just one season with, I don't know, 4,000 or 5,000 street miles. But I finally found the problem. Now I get the pleasure of pulling the tail shaft out of the car and putting on this different tail shaft housing. I'm actually waiting on a seal to come in from O'Reilly's. But yay me, yay me. And I don't know, I guess I could make a video on how to pull the tail shaft housing. It's actually not that bad of a job. Main thing is you got to spread that snap ring on the output shaft. But anyways, guys, that's all I got to say about that. So we're getting ready to go to National Trail this weekend for another 2-day hitter. We just came back from National Trail on a 2-day race. I didn't do very good. I was going to try to record Andrew. He actually got down to 4 cars on Sunday, but my recording ain't what it should be, and it's hard to stay focused, race, and actually record YouTube videos. But Maybe someday, guys. Maybe someday. But anyways, I hope you all got something from that. I know I did. Fucking China. But hey, we got her figured out. She should be smooth as glass. Because I'll tell you guys something. You drive your car on the street week in and week out, you find out if she's a piece of shit or not. And she was shaking. She was shaking bad. Especially on D-cell. So that right there, that will take care of it. And we should be smooth sailing from here on out. I'm hoping. To be continued. But anyways, I guess I'll holler at you guys later. Have a good night.